Good evening, Dharma friends. Wish you the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem to begin today's Sutta study class. We all join with this Sutta study class after a couple of weeks of vacation. I mean, I could not conduct the Sutta study class due to Katina ceremony at this temple and also other temples in the city, so that we, with agreements, postpone the Sutta study class for several weeks. I'm very happy to be here today with you to study the Dhamma in the Suttas, and I think you feel the same. Many of you email me expressing the willingness to participate in the Sutta study class again, and that showed me how interested you are to study the noble teachings of the Buddha as said in discourses. So sometime this class could not give you anything special, anything new for you, because you have been learning Dhamma on your own and with teachers for a long time, so that you might be familiar with the topics we selected and the discourses we discuss. But at the same time, you will be feeling good because you engage with Dhamma related activities with something you heard before, so that the Kusala Chitta you have will be developing again and again, so that any Dhamma related work help you no matter how lengthy and profound those Dhamma activities, you can benefit from them if you have right wisdom. With that in mind, I just want to invite you to participate in the Dhamma learning programs as much as you can and make your mind immeasurable with qualities, and at the same time fill it with wholesome Dhamma qualities as said in the Noble Path. Friends, with the right respectful venerations to the Buddha, we are going to begin today's Sutta study class. Let me recite Namo Tassa 3 times in Pali and in English to begin our Sutta studies for today. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Friends, the topic for today's discussion is a part of very important Dhamma elements of the Buddha's teaching. As I said, it is iti imasming sati idam hoti. That means when this exists, that exists. That is there. So friends, I know that you are familiar with this statement. Many people understand that it is from Paticca Samuppada, as we rightly say in Pali. So our effort in this session is to bring the topic of Paticca into simplest form and get some knowledge that we have developed before into application and collect some other new information based on some suttas. As I said, this is a sutta study class, which means you have the opportunity to questions, to add, to explain further. Anything could be done within 1 hour and 15 minutes. So please keep that in mind, that you are welcome to say anything related to the topics, anything related to your practice and between your practice and the teaching. So friends, that statement from Paticca is echoed in our mind for a long time. Have you understood the Paticca as the statement says? Do we know exactly what Paticca? What comes to your mind when we take the topic Paticca? Let me come to you with these questions and also answers in details. Before that, let me explain you the word Paticca. That is the Pali word, and the Sinhala word is also Paticca. And what is the English term for this? It's called dependent co-origination, dependent origination. What are the other words we can bring about? I think Paticca itself is an English word now, and dependent origination or co-origination or causal conditional nature. There are some other words which I cannot remember now, but these are the popular terms we use to understand the title of Paticca. What does that mean? When we comes to Western point of view about Paticca, they may translate it as causes and conditions. From the Western point of view, we talk about causes or results of something or someone, some processes. As far as I understand, the Buddha's teaching on Paticca talks about not only one cause for something to arise, but many causes. We can explain this with examples. For example, suffering due to frustration could cause because of many reasons. But there would be one major cause for frustration, but there are other causes. So something arises with many causes is the real understanding of Paticca. So friends, Paticca again would be combine of couple of words. Paticca Samuppada. Paticca is translated into simple language as pratyaya in Pali, which means causes. Anything that helps something to arise would be Paticca. Samuppada, when there is causes, the results would not come later on. There are things that results would be manifested later on, but with the causes, the results would be right and there. So Samuppada, arising together. When causes are there, the prospective results arise together immediately right after, together with the causes. So basically it teaches, dependent co-origination. With the causes, there is the results immediately or together. I can see that one of our friends say concurrence of logical antecedents, Paticca. That is from Venerable Punnaji. He is a scholar on many subjects, including Paticca, and his way of explaining things could be different from traditional way of explaining. So thank you for that. So it can be causes and conditions come together. And if you look at the Nidana Samyutta of the Samyutta Nikaya and Mahadi Nidana Sutta of the Digha Nikaya, you can see how the Buddha explained Paticcasamuppada. This direct definition for Paticcasamuppada would not be aliens to you because you have been listening to many monks and many lay people who are educated on this, so that my effort is to bring your attention the topic I selected. Iti imasming sati idang hoti imas upada idang upajjati imasming asati idang nahoti imasming niroda idang nirujjati. In Mahaattipadopama Sutta, Buddha has mentioned this, and also in Nidana Samyutta, where we talk about Paticcasamuppada, Buddha has said this statement, 4-line statement, many times in discourses. That is because it is important for us to understand the theory of Paticcasamuppada. When this exists, that exists. With the arising of this, that arises. When there is no this thing, when this thing doesn't arise, or when this particular thing does not exist, that does not exist as well. With the cessation of this, that ceases. This is the simple translation for the imasming sati dhamhoti, etc. Do we understand the importance dhamma behind this? Because theory of Paticcasamuppada could be read from books and suttas, but have we understood the message of it and apply it to our lives? So my take is to let you think about this. So when people talk about Paticcasamuppada, their mind directly goes to the 12-link formula, which is okay, because the Buddha has said the Paticcasamuppada is as this 12 links formula, but the underlying teaching behind it is this statement of the Buddha. When this exists, that exists. With the arising of this, that arises, and etc. So this is why we should understand Paticcasamuppada carefully, because it is the mostly widespread teachings of the Buddha in the Four Noble Truths, in the Noble Eightfold Path, in 37 Factors of Enlightenment, in Akusala as well. Friends, Paticcasamuppada has two categories. Paticcasamuppada as a theory is the fundamental nature of everything in this universe. For humans, for living beings, for other living beings, and even material things. We can see Paticcasamuppada, if we understand the theory well, we can see it everywhere. When the sun rises, it comes with the nature of sun setting. Because of sun rising, there is sun setting. When the darkness comes, it comes with the possibility of light again. And then if we look at the sun's rising, it is the natural law. And if you look at a tree is because of a seed of that tree. And that seed is because of another tree that it was born. And if you look at a child, the child was born because of its karma, and also the mothers and fathers unison as husband and wife, or male and female. And look at the water reservoir, and why this water is collected like this? Because people have made the dam, or animals make the dam, or naturally there is a dam, and that's why the water is collected as a huge volume. And water is water is there because of rain, and rain because of other natural phenomena, which I do not want to explain in details. You know about that. So we can see the reasons for each and every happenings, occurrences in this universe. But that part of the causes and condition uh, are not relevant too much for us, because we are working on reducing suffering and eliminating suffering, pulling out suffering from our mind. And Paticca the part of the Paticca we should understand is should be helping for us for that purpose. So that the Paticca we should understand is to understand what suffering is and how suffering arises and which way suffering is ceased. And in order to practice the path, we should understand Paticca. So friends, each and every happenings in the universe happen accordingly in an following an order. That is also kind of Paticca. But what we need to understand in this theory, with this theory, is how living beings is generated and how living beings is going to stop cycle of birth and death. So that the vast dam of elements in the Buddha's teaching is this Paticca. This is why Buddha stopped Venerable Ananda when Venerable Ananda said that I understand Paticca very well. It's clear to me so much, Bhante. Then Buddha stopped Venerable Ananda in the middle of the statement and said that don't say Ananda, Mahayavang Ananda, Mahayavang Ananda. Paticca does not appear as deep as, but it is really deep and profound. So when Venerable Ananda said that I understand Paticca very well, the Buddha stopped him and look at Venerable Ananda. He was the foremost monk, disciples of the Buddha who heard a lot. And even that person was stopped by the Buddha when he said such a statement. It shows us how deep this Paticca. Friends, another statement of the Buddha clears us how important this Paticca for us. In Mahatipadopama Sutta, Buddha clearly said that yo paticcasamuppadang passati, so dhammang passati. If anyone sees the Dhamma, they definitely sees the Paticcasamuppada. Or if they see Paticcasamuppada, they have cleared the whole Dhamma elements. Right? So when we can have the other statement linked to that. If you understand the Four Noble Truth, which that means you understand Paticcasamuppada. If you practice the path, that means you have taken a good step to understand Paticcasamuppada. So you will see how Samma Ditti helps develop Samma Sankappa, and both help Samma Vacha and other elements of the Noble Eightfold Path, are linked together, and your understanding goes as such. And when you practice the four foundation of mindfulness, that is the path to practice the Noble Eightfold Path in a speedy way. So you can see the cause is practicing the four foundation of mindfulness, and the result is completion of four foundation of mindfulness as well as the Noble Eightfold Path. If you are angry, what you are going to say? Some bad words, some unorganized, unethical words. And you may do some wrongdoings as well. How did you say bad words and do bad things? Because of anger. How could anger arise? Anger arises because of some other reasons. So you can see Paticcasamuppada everywhere in each single breath, though it is for a short period of time. There is some link to Paticcasamuppada. So friends, if you understand Paticcasamuppada, there is nothing left for you to understand in this Dhamma. So with that, we can discuss more. Let me get the sutta, which I want to keep as the theme for today's discussion. So Paticcasamuppada is being said a lot, is being discussed a lot. Still, we have to understand a lot of part of it. What I encourage you to see your mind, your body to see Paticcasamuppada. So the suttas are there, said by the Buddha or Venerable Sariputta, Venerable Ananda, and other monks. Even very nice interpretation by modern scholars, both monks and lay people. But isn't that completing us our training with Paticcasamuppada? No. See your mind, see how your senses work, and how this came to me. And you are a very rational humans. We are very rational humans. We always see causes and conditions. As parents, you all look at children's record, children behaviors, and how you pay mortgage, how you maintain your expenses with the salary. So what kind of food we need to eat just to balance our good health, and what kind of medicine we should take for reducing the damage from this illness and that illness. So you are looking of reasons, and rational thinking is always there for mundane purposes. We can use this rational thinking or reasoning for cultivating Paticcasamuppada, or of course the wrong word I use, because Paticcasamuppada could not cultivate. Paticcasamuppada is something to be understood, just like the suffering. Suffering has to be understood, and the causes of suffering could be eliminated. So Paticcasamuppada, in terms of doing our what do you call performance or rituals or whatever with Paticcasamuppada, we have to understand Paticcasamuppada. There is nothing. We can develop mindfulness, wisdom, perseverance, concentration, samadhi, but Paticcasamuppada has to be understood, right? This is why I found a place where the Buddha said that Janato hang bhikkhave passato, that with asava particularly, but with Paticcasamuppada also is that statement is attached to people who have done something on the Buddha's teaching and experience something on it can get this point very well. I happen to have this topic with many people, and some people do not enjoy this Dhamma talk very much because it is difficult to understand. It is not something, there is no something to enjoy in this very phenomenal, factual Dhamma talks about Paticcasamuppada for many people. But friends, Paticcasamuppada is deep, but there is something to investigate always. I happen to listen to Dhamma talks on Paticcasamuppada from famous preachers and also very scholarly people, because when I listen to Paticcasamuppada each time, no matter how I'm knowledgeable about it, I always learn something new about it, because it teaches clearly to see us, to see how your mind and body works. So once again, I repeat, the thing with Paticcasamuppada we should do is to look at our mind and body. When we see our mind and body, we see Paticcasamuppada. Let me bring you this fact. When the Buddha talks about Salayatana, it is a link of Paticcasamuppada 12 formula of Paticcasamuppada. So you see the eyes gets pictures from outside, and then meeting of the eyes and also pictures together creates eye consciousness, chakku viññāna. And meeting of these three is called phassa, contact. And in the contact, you have the rising of feeling and perception, and then whole trains of thinking with all kinds of abilities. Similarly, you can see the same cycle with the eyes, ears, nose, the tongue, and the body and mind. So with Paticcasamuppada theory, and when you learn it, when you think about it, just look at how your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind work. So the process is so rapid, so fast, so quick, which you sometimes cannot glance each steps. But Buddha has said this is how mind is created, with the sensory experiences and senses and sensory consciousness and so on. So having learned that, you'll observe Paticcasamuppada in sensory experiences. I think that shows how impermanence works as a theory, how suffering could arise as a characteristic, and also you could find that the third one, anatta, as well, right? So Paticcasamuppada could be seen in these 6 sensory experiences. That is one way to see Paticcasamuppada in us. Isn't this simple explanation shows you how mind and body works? Of course, yes. You have seen the physical aspect as well as mental aspect. Have you seen you as a person come to effect, come to exist with this analysis? Yes. And you can open up a very long investigation with this observation. Not only Paticcasamuppada you understand with, but also other important Dhamma elements could be manifested with. So what I do always when I listen to Paticcasamuppada, I try to go with at least one way of Paticcasamuppada formula, so that I experience sort of peace, strong sense of Dhamma is manifesting in my mind. So friends, let's talk about them. We just jump into the theory of Paticcasamuppada with this introductory part, but we have a lot to discuss when we go into each aspect of Paticcasamuppada. So now you know, imasmin sati idang hoti, imasmin upada idang uppajjati. Imasmin sati. This is not a big difficult Pali term. Imasmin means when this exists. Imasmin sati. Idang hoti, that exists. When ignorance is there as a condition, there is sankara. If we take the 12-link formula, we can see how imasmin sati idang hoti come into play. When ignorance is there, when ignorance arises as a condition, then sankara, mental formation, come to arise. And imasupada, when ignorance, first place we have to say, when ignorance is there, there is sankara. And when we come to the second line, imasupada, whenever ignorance arises, mental formation or sankara arises as a condition. Then imasmin asati, when there is no ignorance, and there could not be sankara or mental formation is there as well, because cause has been gone, how could the results could stay there? Imasmin asati idang nohoti. Imasa nirodha, when ignorance is going to cease, is going to end. And when ignorance actually ceases, the mental formation or sankhara, ceases as well. If you take any links of Patichampada formula, you can see this imasmin sati idang hoti, imasmin asati idang hoti. That formula is seen in between each links. When you come to the cessation part of suffering in the Patichampada, you might find avidya asesa viraga nirodha sankara nirodha. When the ignorance ceases without reminder, the cessation of sankhara come to effect. When sankhara ceases completely, the vijnana ceases also. Friends, this has been explained in a beautiful way in Upanishad Sutta, and elsewhere we can see the Paticampada. As I said earlier, Paticampada is everywhere in each words of the Buddha. For 45 years, what he said was with Paticampada. So when Sila is being practiced by any individual, his mind is inclined to Pamujja or Avipatisara, or a state of less problems, because Sila creates such a moment in our mind to experience peace, experience less problems. When we experience Avipatisara or non-confusion, non-delusion, that helps us to develop joy, pamujja, rapture. Then with rapture, we have piti, the happiness. And sukha, after that, it is also happiness, kind of very refined happiness. And with sukha, sukhino chittang samadhiyati, with happiness, our mind is to experience samadhi, concentration. Yata samahitang chittang yatabhutam pajanati. When samadhi is there as a condition, there is the possibility of knowing things as they are. When there is knowing things as they are, as a condition, there is vijja. And when there is vijja, there is vimukti, liberation. So friends, not only with that way we explain Paticampada, imasmin sati idang hoti, imasmin asati idang hoti, with avidya, sankara, vijnana, and so forth. But we can explain the Paticampada theory or Paticcasamuppanna Dhammata with all these wholesome Dhamma aspect. Before I move forward, I want to explain this. Tatata, avitatata, ananyata. Actually, it is the nature of Paticampada. No one can deny the fact that the Paticampada says it is a certain thing. If there is mango seed, there is no possibility of having banana tree with mango seed. It is a mango tree that comes out with this mango seed. And if you plant a chili plant, you get chili out of it. So that is called tatata. Avitatata, it is fundamental, it is unchangeable, and then no change happened according to any time. It is a universal teaching. So we can see the Paticampada in each links, in each mental state, physical state related to our mind, related to our body. So friend, Paticampada is such that we should understand to alleviate suffering. When I take this Paticampada teachings of the Buddha for my practice, suddenly I take all kinds of have any just by thinking about it, because it shows a silver line. What is that silver line? There is a possibility of reducing suffering, causes of suffering, as well as taking the suffering out one day completely. Because Paticampada teaches that any individual can take actions to reduce causes of suffering, and there is less suffering or avoid empty of suffering at all in your mind, depending on your practice. In other words, Paticampada teachings of the Buddha make us so happy, even though we are not good in the training. It shows kind of moment for us to boost ourselves, to practice the deep Dhamma, because it says, imasming sati idang hoti. When we do not have any moment of greed, hatred, and delusion, no matter what we did in the past, if we do not have presence of greed, hatred, and delusion in our mind at this moment, the next moment could be the similar. Next moment we can make the same thing. If we have the right support from Kalyana Mitta and also from our good karma, we could continue our training on some noble qualities, because when this exists, that exists. So I would definitely encourage you to think about Paticampada in that way. Sometimes I come to this vihara to respect the Buddha, and I kneel down and worship 3 times, and I never recite any gatha. Just think about Paticampada for several minutes, for nearly an hour, and that is my venerations to Buddha, because you can see how your mind settled down with the deep Dhamma, and there you see how mind was. Because some people take Paticampada formula to recite only, but they do not know how to see that formula in their mind when they act. But that is pointless, friend. You may do some meritorious deed out of that. You might collect some merits out of that. But how we develop kusala is the point. When you develop kusala, you see how akusala is going to end in your mind and kusala manifested. My urge here basically is to see Paticampada in your thinking of your mind, so that you see how body and mind reciprocate. In let me bring the sutta, Paticampada Vibhanga Sutta. Before that, actually, we have just the Paticampada Sutta in Nidana Samyutta. There Buddha said, Bhikkhus, I will teach you dependent origination. Listen to that and attend closely. I will speak. Yes, Venerable Sir. Those bhikkhus replied, and the Buddha said this. What is dependent origination? Here Buddha said, with ignorance as condition, volitional formation come to be. With volitional formation as condition, consciousness come to be. With consciousness as condition, name and form come to be. With names and form as conditions, the 6 sense bases come to be. With the 6 sense bases as conditions, contact come to be. With contact as condition, feelings, and with feeling as condition, craving, with craving as condition, clinging, with clinging as condition, existent, with existent as conditions, birth, with birth as condition, as you know, aging and death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure, and despair come to be. Such is the origin of this whole mass of suffering. This because is called dependent origination. Here, the Buddha wanted to show how suffering as a whole, as a mass, come into exist. Related to that, Buddha explained the dependent origin, but that is not all. As I repeatedly saying, the Paticca Samuppada the dependent origination we should understand is twofold: how suffering arises and how suffering ceases. When you learn how suffering arises and suffering ceases, you have already get into the point how suffering is eliminated and which way you eliminated the suffering. That is the magic of this teaching, in my view, because you station on the Noble Eightfold Path to understand the Paticcasamuppada as it is. There you see the silver line of darkness, which means you could see suffering could be ceased, and you understand there immediately suffering is a problem and everything is under suffering, and then the causes for suffering is in constant searching for something new, which is called craving and with ignorance. So friends, when you read this formula, as the Buddha said, Buddha wanted with this to tell us this is how suffering come into exist. Let's take an example. Suppose you are angry with your colleagues because of something you don't like they do. If you apply the Paticcasamuppada, especially so far, the statement we read so far, you would see how this anger came to me, how I am angry now. So you investigate your mind, because in your mind you have those friends' statement and your statement, all the pictures, sounds, and they are combined as a perception. So you have that unpleasant feeling. Your consciousness is muddled there. So you have all these things in your mind. So you look at your mind and you see anger as a consequence, as a result. So you now dig into the reasons of anger. So you see how this problem started. Perhaps they started saying something not nice, and then you were held into a peaceful state for a while, but after some time you burst yourself with anger and you said something to protect you, to attack what they said. Then now the war started. So you see, you also made something for them to re-angry, and you said something again after that. So now the problem has been gone for a while. So with this investigation, you find reasons and results and reasons and results one after the other. So I think even if you cannot alleviate anger completely, at least you understand the whole scenario of the problem, right? That is how we should understand how all masses of suffering come into exist. Suffering is their anger and respective results of anger. Because of suffering, you cannot sleep, you eat, but you do not know what you eat, and your complexion is not nice, and you are beginning new fighting with family members because of that unpleasant you had before. So you are going to make whole mess at home, on the road, and nothing is peaceful for you, right? Whole mass of suffering is that for you. There you go to the sign room or to temple and recite Paticcasamuppada, Avidya Pacca Sankara, Sankara Pacca Vijnana, Vijnana Pacca. It doesn't help for you. Buddha's statement could be helpful for us if we really understand what suffering we have right now. And Buddha said us to look at the reasons of something when something arises, or whether it is pleasant or unpleasant, whether it is Dhamma-centered or not. Suppose you are so happy with meditation, it works for you today. It helps you calm down. So you are so gorgeous and happy and peaceful. There also you should look at Paticcasamuppada. How this happiness came to me. Oh, it works because I I had physical and mental preparation for the meditation, and I had kind of faith myself, and of course there was some momentum for us to have all these beautiful things. I paid my attention to that part of the body, then I took it over here and I listened to the instruction very carefully, and I managed my mind, not letting it go elsewhere, but put it on the right place of focus. So you see how you taught, how you got that peaceful state of mind. You applied all the methods of meditation, and that's how you got that concentration, that samadhi or peace. Friends, hereafter, perhaps you experience a lot of problems when you associate your friends and relatives, and when you go on the road, there would be very many problems. But be mindful to apply Patichampada with the present conditions as you experience. Then only you understood Patichampada. When Venerable Ananda went to a house for Pindapata, the mother and the daughter of that house was seeking the opportunity to take Ananda into their family by doing some mantra, because from Brahmanic tradition as well as other tradition, people had been developing some powerful method which are so unwholesome, to take people into their side, to do some other activities with invisible powers and so. So the mother of that family was a very skillful person to do all these mantra, and the daughter was in mind to have Venerable Ananda as a husband. So she did not, eat for days until I get my Venerable Ananda as my husband. I do not eat. So she said to mother. Then this is the only. This was the only daughter for her in the family, only child in the family, and she, as a mother, she did everything for for her daughter to be happy. So now Venerable Ananda came to that house for Pindapata. Then this mother made that mantra to change Venerable Ananda's mind, because Venerable Ananda was only a Sotapan. Sometimes could be a victim of powerful unwholesome powers, right? So Venerable Ananda was not mindful to defeat that power of negative energy of that mother. So he was, according to the story, was slowly inclined to some sort of those negative powers. There are, in one story, it says that Buddha showed his magical powers, uh, and took him back and made Venerable Ananda to be mindful. Other stories are there that Venerable Ananda thought about his mind. How could this puzzle, deluded mind came to? And then he was able to trash that restless mind of and find the reasons for restless mind and apply that this is not good. If I live with this, there is a great danger happen to me in this house. So he meditated there at the right spot to bring that clear mind out of those negative powers. In another story, it says that Venerable Ananda was completely out of mind. He was unconscious. Then that mother and the daughter got ready with all these beautiful saris and jewelries, and the tradition was to put the garland on the man's neck just to get married. That was the only ritual at that time. Without Venerable Ananda's waking up, they could not do that. So they were looking at the moment. So Venerable Ananda opened his eyes after the negative power gone, and he realized that something wrong going to happen. So he quickly realized that his mother and the daughter has made this trick for to get him to lay life. So he sat down there and meditated, uh, applying Paticcasamuppada, applying all kinds of Dhamma theories he had, and he was able to succeed. So when Venerable Sariputta, Mahakassapa, or whoever disciple walked for Pindapata, they had many problems, right? It was not a peaceful society. There were a lot of obstacles for the monks and lay people equally, from those negative-minded people. So when something happened to them on the road, they saw how this happened. For example, Buddha saw different beings and people suffer from a lot. So Buddha had the habit to look at the reasons why this happened to this person. For example, Buddha woke up around 4 a.m. in the morning, and the first thing after his personal thing, first thing he did was looking at the world. Who could be a lucky person to get my help today, right? Then the Buddha saw this particular people every day, in my understanding. So he saw his history or her history, why this person came to my stream of thoughts, because of that, because of such a wholesome deed he did. And for example, Pukkusati, for example, Angulimal. So the Buddha saw that this particular person has that potential energy to attain Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, Arhant, or at least to get out of hell, out of all kinds of hell, because he has done something great. And if I do not go, they would definitely in unlucky destination, unhappy destination. So he saw their past experiences, and he is going to see what is going to happen to them, and he foresee with facts what is going to happen if I intervene for their life. So Paticcasamuppada is being applied even the Buddha for helping people. Friends, my thinking is to take Avijja, Sankara, Vijnana, and all these twin links next time into discussion. So today my intent was to explain you the basic thing of Paticcasamuppada, which perhaps you know. So let's have a discussion now to understand the importance of Paticcasamuppada, and then people understand more about it. Perhaps you get into read more about it with your explanation, with my explanation. So I invite you to speak out about anything you wish to say. So we have around 20 minutes. While you prepare your talks or contribution, I just want to share another thing that I always do. When I come to breathing meditation, I see Paticcasamuppada, this imasming sati danghoti. When in-breath arises, that is the cause for out-breath to arise and disappear. Without in-breath, how could there be in-breath? Sorry, without out-breath, there won't be in-breath as well. Because of this cycle of breathing, lungs, function, and then blood circulation, and then all these all these function of the machine works. Even I talk now because of the breath, because of consciousness, because of you know uh, the senses and all the other things. So when I come to breathing meditation, sometimes I see that formula, imasming sati idang hoti, imas upada idang upajyati, imasming asati. If there is no breath, just in breath, how could there be out breath? And if there is no both breath, there is no living person, right? Sometimes I completely do meditation on Paticcasamuppada. How? As soon as I sit, I look at the body. And how do I look at the body? Because I have a kind of called mind or vijnana or chitta. From chitta, vijnana, or whatever word you can remember. Because of this feeling ability, I can feel the body. And there I can see all aggregates of feeling. And feeling is taken as feeling with thoughts. So imas means sati idang hoti. When one exists, there are other things as well. Sometimes not. Basically, we have to understand that there are causes and conditions, and causes sometimes plays the role of results as well. For example, avidya has been the first cause or reasons of the 12-link formula. Avidya is the condition, there is sankara, and sankara is the results of avidya. But sankara becomes the cause when we attach vijnana into it. Therefore, friends, each factor of the formula plays two roles. One, once it is a cause, and the other time it is a result. So that's what I want to say. When I meditate myself, I do consider this imasming sati idang hoti. And when I am out of mind, when I'm not contemplating those things, I would definitely think about it. Therefore, some people come and talk about their mundane things, which are very important for them, and which are very important for the things are very important for us as well in terms of helping. For example, I got a couple of people and they talk about their school, their jobs, and they talk about different stories. I see Paticcasamuppada in their talks. So if you understand or if you see Paticcasamuppada in each conversation, I believe you get Dhamma then and there and make your mind calm and peaceful, which is the perfect condition for you to bring out something very important. So I said this while you are getting ready for your contribution. I think some you are ready with something, right?
Yeah. So if there are no other questions, I just want to say this principle actually points to shunyata, emptiness, doesn't it? Because it's something arises, it's there, and something disappears, other conditions are not there, it's gone. So in between, in other words, it's empty. Like whatever arises, yamkichi samudaya dhammang, sabbadha nirodha dhamma. It's like the same principle at the end, just showing there is nothing in between. Does it point to emptiness, Bante, at the end, the principle itself?
Yeah, of course, of course. There is no concept called emptiness if there is no Paticcasamuppada. Indeed, in between there is emptiness, because in one of the discourses of the Buddha about Paticcasamuppada in Samyutta Nikaya, Buddha talks about monkey examples, right, for the mind. So Buddha said mind is such a thing that we could not give an example, because it is rising fast and ceasing fast. So the Buddha was compelled to give an answer to the monk who asked the questions. And then Buddha said about the monkey. Monkey release his hand from one branch and take another branch, and that's how the monkey was. So it shows that when the mind arises, then and there it ceases. There is no time and space. In Abhidhamma it is explained beautifully. What you said is really connected to what I'm saying. Yeah, when something arises, there is small, seemingly there is small gap, which, and but there is no gap. When it is arises, it ceases immediately. So there is nothing at all in between. It's empty at all. So, but we can see something just because we are not mindful about it. For example, if you take that you know uh, iron or wooden bar that has fire on both sides, and people uh, cycle it in the perahara, you see it's a fire round like this, but it has only two ends. Why do we see that there is a round fire flame like that? Because it is so far, so that our mind perceive that it is a fire cycle. With this, I want to say that we perceive things as something solid, but what is reality there is things arise and pass away immediately. There is nothing between. Exact. So emptiness is the most important, beautiful teaching that we could understand with the Patisampada, because when something ceases, that has the next thing or the results also has already ceases. So what you said is really, really interesting and true. In between about any two factors of Patisampada formula, emptiness is really manifested. And other thing is, if you want to see anicca, look at the 12-link formula with the basis of imasmin sati idang hoti. So you see everything is going away, which is another relinking Dhamma phenomena with emptiness, sunyata. So thank you very much for pointing out sunyata, because that is really attached to it.
Thank you, Bante.
Yeah. So as you said, if you look at our mind with strong samadhi, I would say strong samadhi means very clear samadhi. Otherwise, you cannot see the subtle changes of your mind. You see how these thoughts appear in your mind one after the other. I believe, and I experience that there is some slow motion type of mental reaction happens, and then they are producing small parts of subtle parts of our mind. So there are, when the samadhi is developed, you can see subtle changes. So without samadhi, you can see big entities, like big how do I say, components. But with samadhi, you can see that wholes of the big components of those thoughts. So at the end, you see emptiness of your thinking, emptiness of your perception, emptiness of your feeling. Emptiness is everywhere. For arahants, they see this body is only just like net. There is nothing solid for, there is nothing important for them in this body, because they see all kinds of parts and particles. Don't think that they see this kind of things from their physical eye. Their mind sees everything as there. So we are talking about the seeing with mind, develop mind. So emptiness is everywhere. And emptiness, if you see emptiness, you have seen the Paticcasamuppada. Emptiness, actually, this emptiness we talk about in Buddhism is not the emptiness maybe modern science talk about, because in Buddhism we talk about empty from greed, hatred, and ignorance. When our mind is empty from greed, hatred, and ignorance, there is the presence of non-greed, non-hatred, non-ignorance, which means enlightened qualities. So even Buddha and Arahants have thoughts, but they are totally pure, beyond the normal capacity. Nibbana Dhatu is there in their mind. So they have thoughts, but they are not mixed with any bad things. It is difficult to explain emptiness from our experience, because we are looking at emptiness from our perspectives, so that there would be chances of getting some confusion by listeners. But I personally understand what I'm saying, but I'm not sure what you say, what you think in general. But emptiness is empty from bad things, empty from akusala. So the Arahant's mind is empty from creating any sort of bondage, any sort of link to any existence. So thank you for taking that topic into discussion. When you see Paticcasamuppada exactly as it is, you are experiencing emptiness, sunyata, into the level you understand Paticcasamuppada. All right, so anyone?
So, an answer, when someone is in full awareness or samadhi, like 4 foundations of mindfulness, can there be, it can be without any thoughts. I mean, your thoughts are either minimal, or if you develop your samadhi, you can be without thoughts, only the watching, only the awareness of the movement. Is it possible? What do you think of it?
Yeah, interesting. When you are really in samadhi by practicing 4 foundations of mindfulness, you would be feeling that mind is empty from a lot of things. But because you don't have any disturbance, you don't have any problem you had before. You feel you are settled, you feel so calm and peaceful. And I think we all understand what we are talking about. When mind is calmed down, it's unexplainable. No, your mind doesn't go anywhere. Actually, we feel that mind never associate its ground for coming for any production. But the ground for mind is 6 senses, right? Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, basically 5 senses. Let's talk about 5 senses. So mind takes food uh, out in the outer world through these senses. So when the mind is having that particular experience, mind doesn't want to hear anything, mind doesn't want to see any picture, mind doesn't want to smell anything, mind doesn't want to taste anything. Mind does want to experience that empty nature, empty from hustle bustle busy nature of the of our life. So it's a kind of course, emptiness in yeah.
Yeah, so Anand, isn't it similar to nirvana? For example,
Kind
nirvana
of
is,
nirvana. Yeah, it's a kind of
yeah,
momentary nibbana.
so if someone says if you can have deep samadhi, you are experience a little bit of nirvana like thing. Is that a correct statement? Because actually, uh,
Indeed,
uh,
because you have touched upon the nibbanic theory into a certain extent. Look at the Chulahati Padopapa Sutta. Buddha has clearly said that attaining to first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana are kind of knowing the big elephant's footstep into a certain, which means from the Dhamma point of view, you have seen the Tathagata very well there, who this Tathagata is. Who, jhana is considered as Tathagata Pada, which means if you want to see the Buddha exactly who is, you have to attain to jhana. And when you see the Buddha, it means that you have touched upon the nirvana for a moment, right?
Yes.
Because you have done with the first level of defilement, what we call pancha nivarana, completely when you attain to jhana. It's a kind of nirvana actually. That's why Buddha asks all of us to practice jhana as much as we can. So long we are in jhana, there is that momentum in our mind to get into anicca dukkha anatta if we turn that moment into vipassana. So attaining to jhana or experiencing jhana, no matter where you are and which posture you have, you are of course experiencing nibbana before confirming nibbana. Definitely. So you not only experience emptiness into a certain extent, you of course experience nibbana. So you are practicing actually the qualities of nibbana. Bodhiyanga, passaddhi, piti, samadhi, sati. When you attain to samadhi, you are cultivating these bojjhanga qualities into a certain extent. But you have to be a follower of the Buddha, because a type of samadhi that can be practiced without the entering into Buddha's teaching also, which are not samma samadhi. So what we are talking about, samma samadhi.
Yes.
Yeah, so emptiness is there. So when you attain to first jhana, what you empty from your mind is 5 hindrances. When you go to the second jhana from the first, what you empty is vitakka vichara. So when you go to the third jhana, you as I remember the what do you call, upekka is manifested in there very well. So some based on samadhi you develop upekka, and when you go to the fourth jhana there is some emptiness, and when you attain to definitely sotapanna state, you completely empty your mind from sakkaya ditthi vicikicca silabbata paramasa, any possibility of me and asmimana, not asmimana, kind of asmimana, I, me and myself. And when you attain to sakadagami, you empty your mind from something more. And when you attain to anagami, you empty your mind from 5 lower fetters. And when you attain to arahantship, you empty your mind from every defilement. So emptiness is experienced every time when you apply some dhamma. Even in your, when you give a dana, if you really see how your mind works, you see your mind is empty from some sort of defilement for the moment. Tadanga prana. The momentary destruction of some craving could happen when you apply some elements of Dhamma there. So Nibbana is, we can taste Nibbana with some sort of mental stability with Dhamma in the Noble Eightfold Path.
Thank you.
Very interesting, yes. So apply, try to see Paticcasamuppada as we talk about that. Try to see Paticcasamuppada when you practice for foundation of mindfulness. Anything could happen with it happens with order, in order, based on Paticcasamuppada. If you have given full strength, I mean physical, mental, both strength, there is the respective results out of that. And if you have a kind of a very good body, which means you have taken a bath, maybe wash your face, and you sit down without thinking anything else, so your preparedness is very good, so that you will do good in your meditation, because you have getting ready for meditation well before when you come to the cushion. I encourage people to meditate in that way, because your sitting would be very fruitful for you if you have get ready for meditation well before you sit on the cushion. So see this, see how causes and conditions work step by step. When we look at the, let's say, body parts, we look at our head, and the head here, then the body here, then teeth, nails, the skin, then we go into inside the body, we take muscles, so we go from one body part to the other. So you would be able to see how your mind has been connected with each and every body parts without going it out of the body. So you see how your mind has station within the body, and therefore you see that relaxation as relaxation coming slowly, and your mindfulness is coming slowly, and your wisdom faculty is coming. So you could see how things arise in your mind as your right focus. So what is happening there, what is basically working there, is Paticamuppada. Very good. Thank you so much for your inquiry about full foundation of mindfulness and emptiness again. Any questions or any regards? If not, I would like to end today's session.
Bante, I think there's some, when you talk about the second jhana, that's Vitaka Vichara is lost. I think that's a question. I think he was asking the thought process. There's no thinking going on there.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But there's a feeling, there's a perception, there is a Priti Sukha is there. But in the Nibbana element, it's totally kind of different. It is Sabbasa etang santang etang panitang sabba sankara samudayo. All the sankaras are gone. So I mean, there's a huge gap between the samadhi element and the Nibbana element, because not just because you get first, second, even up to fourth, doesn't mean you have destroyed your defilements. You can still go back to defilements as defiled state of mind. I mean, even people with a very, I don't know whether is this that a lot of people did have samadhi states, but doesn't mean they have destroyed the tense at that point. So thoughts will keep coming back. Avijja Pachara Sankara, the Sankara thoughts will pop up all the time, right? So there is a big connection. It is a path, but there's a big gap between the two. I don't know.
I missed that part from his,
Bante, can I explain, Bante? What I wanted to tell was, he was right, but what I said was temporarily. For example, the moment, say, if you can be with the samadhi, full samadhi, or full awareness of only your feeling. So at that time, it's similar to, so after you wake up from that state, your mind will go into thoughts and what you have to do in day-to-day affairs and everything. In that case, you have broken that, you are coming out of it. So at that time, you are not anymore nirvanic state or nothing. You are in the normal worldly living. So what I'm saying, so long as you engage the time you engage, it will be a taste of little bit nibbana-like, because you don't have any thoughts, only the awareness, full awareness. If you can develop that state, jhana state.
That's true. Yeah, both are very good in explaining different very important factors into discussion. Yeah, indeed, when you come to second jhana, you stop that vitaka vichara. It means that you have kind of thinking about good things. When you are in first jhana, you have thinking cycle working without stopping, but on the basis of wholesomeness. But when you come to the second, you see that vitaka vichara, they're asking questions and making some connection with your wholesome feeling. You are going to stop that. That is called avitaka vichara. when you come to the second jhana, you have been doing some emptiness there with that vitak and vichara. And even if you go on all each jhana, Sabba Sankara Samato, Sabbupatipati Nisaggo, Tanhaka, Virago, Nibbana, it happens when you attain to Pala Samadhi, Arhat Pala Samadhi. What you said is also right. Your point was to bring the point that there is kind of momentary Nibbana in there, kind of taste of Nibbana is there. Of course, yes. But it is not a complete ceasing of conditional thoughts. There are conditions in jhana. That's why the Buddha said in clear voice that jhana is not the final solution, because jhana is conditional state, which means we have thought, but compared to normal state, normal life, we don't have thoughts there. Compared to normal life, we don't have troublesome thought. So that's what, before we entered into complete nirvana, of course we have to experience jhana, because have that taste. In my personal understanding, the path of nirvana is so gorgeous and blissful because of jhana. Jhana is the thing we have to enjoy. For example, if you go to Montreal from Toronto, or from Toronto to USA, you are tired on the way. You stop en route for coffee and washroom, and you take some rest. Isn't that enjoyable to make your trip complete? Yes, because you get some rest. So having coffee, tasty coffee, and anything you like on the way to the destination, it's just like having jhana in the Dhamma. Experiencing jhana make this path more enjoyable. That's why Buddha said that the Noble Eightfold Path, practicing Noble Eightfold Path, is so enticing us and encouraging us to practice Nirvana. I think the pleasure of jhana is so much, so that you would definitely stay there for longer if you attach to it. And if you attach to it, there is no progress for you as you expect, but that pleasure should be managed by wisdom. If samadhi is always manifested that they are very well, you are not going to hang on to jhana for longer period, because you want to get out of this conditional state jhana as well. Because when you are in jhana for longer period, you feel that this is not what I expect. This is the happiness of jhana is normal now for you, so that you are going to see impermanence of it, unsatisfactoriness of it. In Aktaka Nagara Sutta, as I remember, Venerable Ananda said that first jhana is the door for complete nirvana. If you practice anicca dukkha anatta on jhana happiness, first jhana happiness, that would be the door for nirvana for you. So thank you very much for both of your explanation. One has taken some elements of the Dhamma from jhana, and the another one is talking about another elements of jhana. Both are according to Dhamma, and thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
So that's the end of today's class, I guess. So thank you very much for coming for the Sutta study class with your contribution, and of course your silence is also a contribution. So thank you very much, and I wish you all more time for Dhamma, and may you be able to manage your mind and body according to the Dhamma, especially Paticcasamuppada, and may you attain Nirvana as a result of that. With that in mind, I'm going to end today's class. See you next week with the same topic, with different aspect of the same topic, and we will be discussing very beautiful Dhamma of the Buddha. And until then, may you all be well, happy, and peaceful. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu.